when I was born, he denied the pregnancy like a Nigerian film. I'm saying it and laughing now because like I've done like my full 360. I wish, as much as I'm okay with this life, I wish I didn't have to have this life. But then when you accept that, you know what, this is my reality. Nice that you have 5 sisters and father and mother. I don't have any.
So she walks in with him, right? And instantly, everybody's so excited. Oh, Charles' daddy is finally here, right?
I'm in the kitchen, I'm trying to cook something, and then he would touch me inappropriately.
Oh my God. Oh Lord.
Oh God.
And I've never had that conversation with him because I just pushed him away and I moved on with my life to focus. I just needed my mother to be proud.
All right. I don't say this often, and I don't think that this person has heard me say this, but when it comes to my career and just how I see myself, our guest today has been a huge source of inspiration for me. And I'm talking as an actor, as a broadcaster, even as a fitness enthusiast. I remember when we had auditioned for this one role, and eventually she got on the platform, and I'll be watching the show, and I'm just like, I could see why she got it. She is such a natural and so good at her job. Everything she puts her heart to do, she does it at 100%. And it's just beautiful to see, her growth over the years. I'm talking in the media industry, even as an ex-beauty queen, it's just beautiful to behold, you know what I mean? And another beautiful thing about her is that she is ready to support you no matter what. I've never heard anybody say that, oh, this person said something about me or didn't mention my name in, rooms that matter. If she knows that you are the best person for this job, she will put you on. She's that one person that will call you and say, guy, see, get big belly for this matter. Like, we got to ensure say, this market, we got to sell them. And I really love friendships like that, and that's why she's close to my heart. And beyond just being a guest on the show, she's my friend. She's an actor. She's a broadcaster. She's a media girl. She is an influencer. She is an ex-beauty queen. If I like a businesswoman, I dare say philanthropist, because to be honest, all the things that she does for most of her friends is philanthropy when I think about it, or not. But before I introduce, my guest to you, family, welcome to this episode of Freaky Table. My name is Charles Bourne, and of course I have Joan.
Joan.
Hey, God have me. Joan with me in the studio, looking ravishing in that, yellow top that I think is really pretty.
Please don't beg for it because I know you.
I'll just collect it. I will not talk too much. It is what it is. But welcome.
Thank you.
And you look really nice.
Man, one day I beg, come and introduce me. Please know me well so I can come and be giving all this for me. Thank you, Charles.
Yes, hey, anytime. And now to introduce my guest, I had done like a whole epilogue, or like was there a prologue for my guest. Like I said before, she's an actor. She is an ex-beauty queen. She's a businesswoman. She is a philanthropist. She is a brand ambassador. Listen, Tokwe does everything. A broadcaster, it is what it is. I have with me in the studio Tokwe the Stallion, aka Tokwe Olowoniyan, aka Tokwe the Stallion. Welcome, girl.
Thank you.
I love you.
Only a smile,
I was even saying that I was going to get Charles emotional. Then I then got emotional.
I don't know. Charles can introduce your whole future.
I'm blown away, and I'm excited to be here. I was when you told me about the show, I was like, gosh, see how far we've come. And I'm like, there's no way I'm missing the show. Let me come and support you. So I'm happy.
Thank you, my daughter.
Nice to meet you. And if you don't give him the shirt, you can give me. Yellow looks good on me.
And we exchange now. You just give me that one.
Ask.
Wow. Thank you.
They're teaching you everything from nursery school to university.
This conversation today is one for the books, because it's interesting that we both have in this, guys, we share almost a similar story, right? So the conversation today is daddy issues, and if you're someone who's conversant with the topic, then you already know what we're talking about. Just have been in situations where you had either an absentee dad or a dad who was deadbeat, basically, and then became absent, right? And the baggage that it comes with. And what's crazy or crazier is that most of these dads don't seem to realize the damage that it does to not just their partners, but the children that are born into that situation. And that, I was telling Joan how passionate I am about, you know, this conversation, because I was in denial about the fact that I actually had daddy issues for the longest time, until I came into my own and said, you know what, it's okay to own it, and then to seek for help, with, you know, therapy and all that great stuff, and just go through the process and tell yourself that you'll be a better off individual and better off parent for it. But it doesn't take away the fact that you've had this experience, and the only way to tackle the experience or to help people out of it is to tell your story and let them know that you're not alone. You know, it's not something that is, you know, new. There are people who are big, there are personalities who are doing great. I mean, you're here, you're killing it. At the same time, you are dealing with this and you're healing. And that's the purpose of this conversation, you know, in the first place. So I'm not even gonna ask any question. I just want us to have a, you know, proper conversation about it. Right. I'm gonna start like this, and I think it's a great way to segue.
Okay.
When did you know that, or at what point in your life did you realize what happened? What was that event that made you say, oh, I think this might just be as a result of my daddy issues? Or when did you even know what daddy issues were? You know?
Okay. I knew daddy issues 2020. 2020, yeah. I got out of a relationship, a very long relationship. And I remember a friend of mine asking me, how do you just switch off? Like, you were engaged. So how are you just acting as though it never happened? And I'm like, yo, if my papa could leave me, as in, waiting be boyfriend and waiting be husband, if my father could leave me, there's no man that I would feel sad about leaving him or him leaving me. It could not hurt me as much, because I felt like I knew that I had felt a deeper hurt from my own father. So I didn't expect so much from men. And when I said that, I was just like, yo, like, sometimes I think it's constant. You see that how your daddy issues come up in different parts of life, and not necessarily in a negative way. It's a way that you have protected yourself because of a hurt that the vacuum of your father not being there has created. Yeah, so I think it's like a reoccurring thing.
Yeah. So what is your story as it concerns this drama? When did he, because I mean, like you rightly said, he left you. So what was the genesis of his leaving you?
I'm not even
Did you even know him?
I would even say that he left,
Okay.
to be fair. He was never there. He's never been there. I do not have a memory of my father in my life. And it was because when I was born, he denied the pregnancy like a Nigerian film. I'm saying it and laughing now because like I've done like my full 360. He was never there. He didn't want to be a part of my life. And I thought that if I studied hard, if I was always acing stuff in school, if I was always the shiny girl in class, one day my dad would just come, and the day he comes, they'll just give him my results and he'll see how far I have excelled in school. And the day I met him, I had just gotten the call that I got admission to uni. And I was the third, I think, from my local government or so. And I did well. My JAMB was one of the highest in my school. So I went with my results to show my dad like evidence that I'm a golden child. I would even get to the part of him looking at the results. He just told me that, oh, he was married and his wife didn't know he had a kid. And he doesn't know how he's going to go and start explaining it to her. I was 16. 16. I found out that he was my dad when I was 13. And that's a whole other story, I promise you. And for 3 years, I had started to search for him. And then the only thing we had was Facebook. So it was just Facebook that I used to use to send him messages, and then one day he replied. But from then, I went back, I just got admission to uni, and I was lost. It was worse than when I had just found out. It was like, I was feeling very, very empty. Like, first, I didn't know that I didn't have a dad, right? I just assumed my grandparents were my parents. Then I came to the knowledge of it. And then you know that because there's like a huge generational gap. So I couldn't even hold, in retrospect, I do not hold my grandparents responsible for not emotionally guiding me because they didn't even know better. Do you get? So they didn't know that after informing me that they're not my parents, they need to check my mental health from time to time because I started to feel alone. One day I asked my granddad, I'm like, so what's my surname? And he's like, Olowoniyan is your surname, you're my child, even if you're not biologically my child. But I only understood what I understood from school, that daddy mommy is daddy mommy. So what's granddad, what's grandmommy? Where's my own daddy? Where's my own home? Where are my own siblings? There was so much of that I had to deal with that my own father didn't think about. Do you get? And with every time that something happened, that I would want to, that I would know that that's your dad you will talk to about this. In fact, scratch that. There are so many things that happened that I didn't know that I would talk to my dad. Then when I started to have a relationship with my stepdad, I realized that there's so many things that I couldn't tell my mom, but I'll tell my stepdad. And trust me, it took us a while before we got there. But the fact that he was intentional about being my dad, it was not just for the glossy look on the internet. He wanted to be my dad. And because also I had a relationship with my granddad that I had built from the vacuum and the emptiness of not having a dad, my granddad's love for me and our relationship, I don't think any man could ever give it to me. Because he loved me when he didn't have to. When he chose me when nobody did. And the fact that I would see him try to break out of his stereotype of his mindset to understand me or to understand, because I wanted to, as far as people from the north are concerned, what are you going to do in a beauty pageant? Like, just face your book, finish school, get a decent job, and But I just wanted to do much more than just be in Zaria and and he was very supportive of that. And then after I lost him, I spiraled because it was
the only man who loved you.
Yes, I spiraled because I didn't even want to give my stepdad a chance. Because I was just like, I don't want anybody. Like, I know how hard I and my granddad worked to get to where we were, and then God took him away from me. I don't want nobody. And I had just come out of a relationship that period when I lost him. So there's a lot of darkness and emptiness. And that was even the time that I would say I poured myself even more into my career. And I started to read books. I started to listen to audiobooks because I did better with that. As a Man Thinketh, The Power of Now, different things to like teach myself how to be a person, because I'm like, grief makes you also feel like you're alone. There's no coming back from that. And so many, in those moments, I would see how much my granddad was in my life that I didn't have him to talk to. Then I would now hate my father for how do you just leave me? And then I had gone back to him like 2 other times to, maybe now he'll have sense. Maybe now he'll come around, and he still didn't. And then the time he came around, what did he tell me? He saw me on TV and he was trying to tell his friends that, that this is kid, and they didn't believe, so he's calling me. Like a whole typical Nigerian movie, my reality. And I'm like, are you being funny? You're so inconsiderate. You're so it was despicable. It was not a forgive thing. It was be a human being. Apply yourself. Come on. And after I lost my granddad and I started to find myself, I love that out of everything that's happened in my life, where I am now is a very beautiful place. Because it's more like God said, oh, don't hold on to this, don't hold on to that, don't hold on to this, just hold on to me and just live. That's why I'm very present. I'm in every moment being my absolute self and satisfied that if I do live after this, it's still going to be beautiful because I lived and I accepted that God said, this girl, your story is going to be different. You're not going to have a dad, you're not going to have a mom, you're just going to be like that and you'll find your way. I see the positives more than I see the negatives. And that's because I chose to learn. I chose to take these lemons and make lemonade. Sorry, I was focusing on Charles too much.
Okay. I'm really interested in the making lemonade part because I've been there, still there, to be honest, and I'm still dealing with it. And I remember, you said something about, your dad and all that. I remember this one time where I was in school, and you know how kids will have open day? And can't forget this. And my father would never come for any of my open days. So my father had 4 children. I'm the first from him and my mom, right? And he would always show up for the open day of my younger ones, and he would never show up for mine. Nobody knew, and I wasn't in the same school with my younger ones, so nobody
Right.
knew who my dad was. And as children, where's your dad? Where's your dad? Where's your dad? My mom was always available, right? So this one day, I can't forget it. It was an open day. Oh, I don't do this.
Don't cry.
It was an open day in school, and so my mom walks in. Sorry, guys. So mom walks in, right? And then I see her. So there's this friend of hers, Uncle Ben. Shout out to you, by the way, an amazing human being. So she walks in with him, right? And instantly, everybody's so excited. Oh, Charles' daddy is finally here, right? So they walk to where my books are and they're checking my stuff. And, he's asking questions as though he's my dad. And my teachers are answering him as though he's my father. And in that moment, I remember holding his hand, and he held his hand and he looked at me and he smiled. And he was done and we're walking, what they were leaving, obviously. And I didn't want to let go of his hand. I remember him trying to let go, but I held onto his hand because that meant a lot to me in that moment, right? So my question is, how are you dealing? Because you said you're reading books and all of that, but you didn't I don't know that if you've gotten over it completely or you just happened overnight. Like, what were the steps that you took to forgive him, if you have forgiven him? Because I haven't. And you know how people say things like, oh, forgive him so you let go of yourself and things like that. And in my head, I'm like, I've forgiven him, but I've not forgotten. But I know I've not forgiven him because I'm still hurting. And there are things that I see in my life that I know that if maybe I had a father figure to guide me, I don't think I would make these mistakes. And it's so bad that I run away from people who want to be father figures to me, right? I can't. There are men who have tried, like, oh, okay, let me be that, let me feel that vacuum. But I don't want it because of the experience. Even as a 19, 20, 20, like as an adult, right? Because in my head, I'm just like, what if this happens again? How am I even supposed to act? Am I supposed, because there were so many things with him that was overwhelming, right? So this man will come with his own baggage, and I don't think I can handle that. So you often see me running, or they will tell my mom things like, oh, he doesn't want to talk to me, or I've tried and he's not. So how have you been able to, just heal, forgive him, whatever, like just deal with it?
It was a very long process. And I think that I would even say that I'm not like a therapist, or I don't have so much experience, but from what I've experienced in my intentional living is that I think it's real cause. I'll give you an instance. We're in May now, right? Last month, my father called me randomly. And I remember I was on a call, and so I was like, sorry, hold on, someone's calling me, and I'm like, and the person before was like, are you there? Are you there? He's not called me in 4 years. And I'm looking at the phone, and I'm like, the entire audacity for you to call me. And I was riled up. I was mad. And I was with my friend, and she was like, yo, and the person I was talking to on the phone knows like my entire life story. And my friend was like, Tokwe, calm down. And I'm like, no. And I said, it is the fact that ignorance is really bliss. Because if I don't know better as a person, I would stay in this anger and I would shut him out. Yeah. But as a better person, I know that I need to hear what he has to say, because I am better than that person that would be angry and that's rash and that's not logical. Yeah. And how did I get there? Is by, I think I'll say, just a bit of stoicism. Just looking at life for exactly what it is. Everybody's story is different. Sometimes, in fact, when I lost my grandparents, I started to pay more attention to life, because I lost them in the space of 13 days. And these are the people that raised me. These are the people that I knew as my parents. So it was very traumatizing for me because up until then, I hadn't lost anybody in my life. I lose my grandma a day to her birthday, and I lose my grandpa 13 days after. And it was just like I became naked, and I started to live life again. So I started to pay attention to who I had become. And the grief took me through anger, through bitterness, through depression, through hate, through withdrawal. And then I started to circle back to acceptance. And when you come to acceptance, now I'm saying, bringing this to my father, I had gone through all these emotions, but in acceptance, I'm like, yo, this is who this guy is, this is who this guy is. In the grand scheme of things, this is how God wanted my life to be.
For a reason.
Like, I can't go about life saying, oh, I didn't win because my dad left me. He left you, he left you. He has left you. You can't get that time back. You can't circle back to it. You cannot get all those things you wanted to give, you wanted to receive. So I started to tell myself that, you know what? You know the kind of love you want to receive. You know the kind of person you would have wanted to be. You know how warm you would have felt if your father was there. You know all the things you want. Give yourself. Don't wait for anybody to give you. So I started to give myself the things that I would have loved my dad to give me, or I would have loved to experience with him. And then at some point, I just stopped and I'm like, you have a dad, oh, like your stepdad. Just that in the social status or in the natural way of describing a dad, he's not, right? Yeah. But I started to say my natural way of describing is the person that's biologically formed me is my father, and my dad is the person that is present in my life. Right. And now another thing I did is I choose when something is happening. I don't say the world is against me. No, this is something happening in my world. This is happening in my world. How do I choose to react to this thing? I don't say this is happening to me. We're in this country already. This country is happening to us. But in my world, how do you define Tope? Tope is a girl that was born by a young girl at 17. I take it as my reality. I don't take it as my unfortunate situation. So for every time that it presents itself in the way somebody treats me, instead of me to circle back to the pain that caused me, or there was a time I had low self-esteem. I could not look at people.
I had that too.
I would, if you tell me I'm pretty, even if you be joke, I would just clown. Like, I did not see the beauty or I couldn't see what anybody was saying. I used to be grateful that you think I'm pretty. It's your validation meant something to me. So when someone wants to put me in that position of that I feel small, I remember the first time someone did that to me in 2020. And I said, you make me feel small because say I never really reach. No worry, I did come. And I knew that I recurled into myself and I started to draw like plans for my life and how I would actively grow. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done wanting people to see me. Like, I see me. And I can see that you guys don't have the capacity. So I would give love up on myself. Everybody that is in my life, you are my friend. I would give you that love that I know that would make you happy, because I know the love that makes me happy. I would love upon you the way I want to be loved upon, because I want you to feel the way I want to feel, so that you know that with me you're safe. And the safety that I give is the safety that I require. And because I know all the things I wanted that I didn't get, I have it to give, so I would give it and clear the atmosphere around me so that toxic can never find me. So when my father called me last month, after I had that moment, I pulled myself back and I'm like, nah, we're way past that. And one thing that I need you to know is it wouldn't happen in 2 weeks or in 1 month, but you need to be so intentional about your life that you don't let anybody's actions cause a negative reaction in your life, because you are the one that will choose how you want to become from what somebody says. You have to always remember that, oh yes, my papa leave me, but look at it now. How many times in a day do you actually think about the fact that your father left you? When you dey hustle bar, you dey think about that guy at that moment. It's you. So don't compartmentalize where you do you. Do you every time, but be very authentic and be very ready to take responsibility. when I started to take responsibility for myself a lot, so I didn't need to depend on someone. I started to be my friend, be my dad, be all those things that you feel that the vacuum is. Whenever you feel that, so there was this time that whenever I come back from shoot, when I'm coming back home, I feel this. I wish there was someone in my house waiting for me. I don't want to go back home to an empty house. And I'm like, I better go. I made the house empty. At least I can get peace of mind. May nobody distress me. Because that want is there, right? But there's also the satisfaction of self. Like, I'm still good by myself. Like, would I like to have this? Yes, I would like to have it. But without it, how are you feeling? I'm Gucci. So you have to be so intentional in addressing those things that hurt you. You need to sit with it. Why does this thing hurt me? Honestly answer yourself. It hurts me because I wish my dad was here. I wish, as much as I'm okay with this life, I wish I didn't have to have this life. But then when you accept that, you know what, this is my reality. Nice that you have 5 sisters and father and mother. I don't have any. But then the sisters that I would find in my friends and the brothers that I will find in my friends, I would love upon you as though it was that, because this is my reality. And majorly, so the major thing that I know that I did, and I still do every time something tries to weigh me down, is accept that, okay, this is the reality that has happened to me. How do I react to it?
I think I'm listening to you guys, I'm like, okay, I don't even know I don't know what right word to say, because if I'm sitting here, I'm just like, man, that's really sad. Like, I don't know how that functions. But then your dad left you. Mine didn't leave me. He was there, but it looks like we're grown up by a widow. Like, he was not functional at all. Like,
I have a question, sorry. Now, at your age, I'm sure you've had moments where you say, adulthood now, scam. Good. Now, when in those moments, random times, do you ever look back at what your father did?
I don't even care.
Wait, let me land. Do you ever look at, and get me to, do you ever look at what he did and say, this guy didn't even know how to be a better person? It's not as though he knew and he refused to. His mental capacity does not even have that bandwidth.
Like, up till now, I don't think he has realized what he did or the impact of what he did. I don't think because, I mean, you're with a dad that doesn't do any, like, it's like he's just his chair in the house. Like, he doesn't pay any rent. My mother does. Doesn't give money for food. My mother does.
Did he have like a physical challenge?
No, he's normal, like any other person. He works. He used to work at the school that I was in. He didn't pay my school fees. In fact, he gives me exit fee, like when they send me home for fees. Go and give your mother. And I go and meet my mom.
What?
With the exit.
So he worked in the school?
Yes. The same school that I was schooling. He was at the administrative office. So he will come and, the principal knows him. Of course, they know that that's my father. So the principal will be like, I don't know, this is Joan owes so. So I'll be like, hey, give me the receipt. And then you take it and call for me from the class. And I'll be like, you're going home. It's a boarding school. So my mom is paying the fees. I'll be like, go and meet your mom. So I have to go home. My mom used to teach. I used to go to her school, go and show her. You obviously see the...
she was teaching in another school?
Yeah, she was teaching in nursery school. So he was working at my college. So I'll go there and you will see her whole day will just be bad. I mean, nobody wants a child to come home in the middle, like exam is about to start and they have to deal with all of this. Yeah. But then because of my mother, I think I became a better woman because I saw her function in that whole mess because it was kind of stupid. And then at a younger age, I kind of knew this is not the kind of person I want to end up with. If this is marriage, then I'd rather be single. So I took up on the responsibility to help my mom raise my siblings. So I stopped school. I didn't go do a master's because my younger brother had to go to school. If I went to school, he would not go to school because my mom would want to pay my fees and all of that.
Right.
So I told my mom, you know what, let me go get a job and then send my brother to school. So the things that we had to do, you wake up, I feel like killing you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell
man.
me about it.
Oh, man.
All the time.
And then my mother had they transferred her to another town. I've never said this before. Oh my God. So she goes to this other far town, and shit, I'm the
Sorry.
only girl, I'm the only grown-up girl in the house. And then my father will come. He would touch. I'm in the kitchen. I'm trying to cook something, and then he would touch me
Oh my
inappropriately.
God. Oh Lord.
Oh God!
Do you need a moment?
He would try to kiss me.
I'm so sorry.
He would tell me it's okay that I'm his wife. Oh God! I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
So sorry. Oh my God.
Oh Lord, this man. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
I'm so confused. I'm so sorry.
For like so many years that my mother was like, wait, and that's what he does. He'll come and wake me up from my bed and tell me, come and sleep with me on his own bed. And I knew somewhere in my head that I knew this is off. Like this is just wrong. You tell me that it's normal.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I just hated him with everything that I had. Everything. I just wanted him to die or something. Like I didn't just know how to handle it. I feel so ashamed talking to my mother.
Oh,
Up to now, my mother doesn't even know. I'm sure if she watches this, she's going to be so shocked. And the idiot is there, and then, like, oh God. So what I just did, I'll tell my younger brother, please, if there's anything I can do, I don't want to ever be like my father, ever. Like, if you need anything, school fees, whatever, house rent, whatever, just ask me. And I'll give you. But please don't be that person. Because I don't know. Now I'm looking at him, and I always tell everybody that people do things. I don't know whether he knows or he has come to the realization that he was wrong, or he's just comfortable. I don't know which one. And I've never had that conversation with him because I just pushed him away, and I moved on with my life to focus. I just needed my mother to be proud. I never repeated a class. I was so into, like, I wanted to pass my exams, have a job, make her so proud that when she watches me, she'll be like, I did something right with my life. He's an asshole, I swear. Like, so when I'm listening to you guys, at least he left. Which is not even, it's not even great even to hear. But mine was there and was doing shit. Like, he was doing like the worst things that you can ever imagine.
Oh God.
And I would be, now I just, my relationship life, it's not like I fixed that, because at some point I was just like, nah, if you show me any sign of my dad, I run.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even look back. I just run. So, but even when I wanted to have a kid, I told myself, whether I'm married or not married, I don't want to be 40 and have a child or be pregnant. So I decided it was a conscious decision for me to say, okay, at 39, I'm going to have a kid. And I had the kid. And I love my daughter. But
She's
I
beautiful.
really pray that she doesn't ever in her life meet that kind of man that
Amen.
grew me up.
Amen.
Because it was
She won't.
bizarre.
Yeah.
So bizarre. My mother has never heard this part of the story before. I swear. And even my siblings. So I'm listening to you people and I'm just like, some people are evil, man. Like, my father is just an asshole. And the funny part is that I am the only one who looks like him. And every other person doesn't. And he did that nonsense to me all the time.
I'm so sorry.
So,
But I mean, just sit in here and listen to all of us talk. You know, I think that let's say the good part of it is that we're all better for it in one way or the other. And I think even having this conversation is a process, is a healing process in itself. I mean, Jesus, listen to her and you know, but that there is courage in even speaking up simply means that I'm willing to, let go of this baggage, and I mean, listening to you and everything that you said and how you went through yours as well, and how you dealt with it and are still dealing with it simply means that there is hope for a lot of people, who might be watching this and are dealing with even worse than we are. You know how like you sit in your house and you feel like, oh my God, your own story
It's only you.
it's only you. But then when you come out like this and you hear things like this, you realize that you're not alone, and that if Joan can go through this and is doing amazing, if Tokme can have gone through all she went through and is doing fantastic, if Charles as well and went through what he went through and is doing great, then
You're gonna be fine.
you'll be good. Nobody's sitting here to say that, oh, it's a walk in the park, but it's great. I think that one thing we should take away from this is that, as individuals who have gone through this, let us make a conscious effort and decision to be better off. For those of us who want to be parents or be spouses, that posterity would not repeat itself, and that will be better individuals, just better human beings. Because I feel like if you're a good human being, you're a good human being.
Yes.
Whether you're husband, wife, whatever, like you're just a good person.
person.
And that's really just is what is important. I don't even know what else to say at this juncture. Joan, I'm so sorry. Like I had no idea. Honestly, no freaking idea. Right? But I just hope that this encourages, someone out there that daddy issues or not, we're going to push through it. We're going to be fine. We're going to be good. God as well is a big factor. I know that Tokbe is a believer, and, she loves, God. I do as well. And I'm sure that Joan does as well. That's another solace that you can hold on to and ask genuinely for healing, because it's not easy. Sometimes you feel like, oh yeah, I'm all right, and then like she said, you just have, like you said, just have those fleeting moments that it just comes back and I wish this, I wish this, I wish that. It happens. The other day I went to a friend for her family's, someone died in their family and there was a gathering. So I escorted her. And just looking at the entire family dynamic, instantly I was sad. And I told her I want to go to the car. And she didn't obviously understand that. Charles, you're bubbly, what's going on? I wanted that. I was like, I wish this could be me or like be my family or whatever. But maybe we have all gone through this for a time as now. Maybe for this particular time, to be able to help someone out of, their own situation. God works in mysterious ways, to be honest. I'm not going to question him, but it is what it is. I'm pretty much done. I talk my thank you for coming, but before I let you go, what would you say? Because I mean, you've come a long way in your life. What would you tell, especially looking at your experiences now and everything you've got, how you've been able to weather the storm, and just when you've said lots of things about your father and all whatnot? What would you say to that you in school who was trying so hard to be in her father's good books and impress the man that she knew was her father, and maybe that was the reason why he wasn't impressed with her, especially after going through life now? What would you say to her if you had the opportunity to talk to that girl? What would you want her maybe to do different or focus on? I don't know.
I think that I would want to tell her that she needs to go through everything she's going through in those moments. Because for everything that I have experienced in life, I have gone back to think about it at different points and seen how they were very important to who I am now and who I want to be. The level of pain that I experienced and the challenges and everything that's circled around my life, I would tell her that you need to go through these things because they are your reality. And unfortunately, we can't change it. It is how your life has been written. You have to accept it. But one thing I would have loved to change, and I would advise everybody that watches this to practice, is to be in the moment with your loved ones. Because no matter how long you have them, it's very short. I think sometimes I go into my thoughts of my grandparents, and I could be there for over an hour. I would remember very, very random things that I did with my granddad, my grandmom, very random things that I didn't even know were great things, because now those are all that I hold on to. And then there are things that hurts me, which is what I want people to learn, is when I go through our messages and I see when I tell my dad, oh, I'm on set, I'll call you back. I text, my grandmom sends me a message wishing me a safe trip, and I said, I'll call you tomorrow. And I'm just like, I wish I can just go back and call her then. I would have an extra memory. I would have an extra thing to smile about. That's what I mean by being in the moment with your loved ones. Don't say I'm not a picture person. Don't say that I don't do videos. I promise you, you or that other person, somebody's going to go first. And you would want to have something to look back, unless you are wood. You would want to have something to look at. And I'm not a picture person, but I'll not give you anything to hold on to. So yes, the only thing I would tell myself of then is to have been more in the moment. I mean, but then again, I also have to accept that at that point in life, I couldn't process more than I knew.
Yeah.
And in another 5 years or more from now, I would still know so much more that you would ask me then, what would I say to me of now? You get?
Yeah.
So I would say to anybody watching is just be present. And you see how I look pretty, she looks pretty, he looks handsome. And if this conversation didn't happen, you wouldn't know any of this.
True that.
Meaning that we really do not go around wearing our problems on our sleeves. So never think that it's only you. I promise you, that person's picture or video on the gram that they press your neck, that person took time to watch it and check that it will press your neck. And the person is saying that, yes, this video is pain. But there's something that hurts that person, because the person is not wood. The person is living and breathing, and is maybe just about to enter a lot, or is going through a lot, or is about to just came out of a lot. Don't think that it is only you. Everything that happens to you, look at it as what happened. How do you react to it?
Great. All right. That being said, at this point, we'll call it a show. Thank you again, Tope, for coming. Please do also follow Tope across social media. The handle's on your screen, @Tope Olowoniyan. That's the handle. Follow Joan, follow me, and follow the show Freaky Table as well as social media. The handle's on your screen. Until we come your way again, have a great one. And don't forget, you're loved. Very important. You are loved. Good night.